or any magazine. So the book reading habit, the other thing you said about book reading habit, unfortunately it is declining right on, and right now we talk about the failure of Manto in his matriculation exams 3 times, and then 2 times in FA when he was doing his inter. But he, despite the fact that he failed 5 times in his life as far as the regular education is concerned, but he never let
that define him.
Get rid of the book reading. Even he used to say to the bookseller that I am the son of the high school principal, headmaster, please lend me, give me some book, and I will return you after 3 days or 4 days. And he used to get the books from these booksellers by lying. He was not even the son of the headmaster, but he was reading and he was finishing. Sometime he was returning, and sometime he was just selling to the old book houses to get some money and for his smoking habits. But he was studying, and even these 3-4 years he read so many books. He read maybe the entire Tolstoy, the Maxim Gorky, and Chekhov, the Russian authors, and then the French as well. The French as well. He was fond of book reading. So unfortunately, here right now, those people who should have been reading, unfortunately, they are writing. First, they should read.
That is such an important point that you're making, actually, because whenever we define great writers throughout history, there has always been that common denominator, that they have always been, crazy and ecstatic about being bookworms and reading and reading and reading, and then that would shape their thoughts, then they would interact with other people, have discussions, and then a shape would be formed inside their mind, and then it would be expressed in a particular way. So what you've actually described is a shortcut. Why are we so fond of shortcuts then nowadays?
Actually, so yeah, of course, people are going for the shortcuts that people want to get fame overnight. Just they want to write only a few things, and they want to be very much famous. Everyone is not as fortunate as Manto is. But Manto wrote just in 1931 or 32 when his first of Sana, Tamasha, that was published. But before that, there was a toil of 10 years of continuous reading of books. Exactly. At that time, when he produced his first of Sana, first short story, or first feature writing, before that, he maybe completed the all-time prevailing best literature of the world, and he gone through from all this literature. Look at a young man of teenager, and he translated Hugo's drama in Urdu language, and even it was published at that time.
Right.
So it is not only the only 30 minutes or 2 hours of just sitting on the table and writing something, and that produced. No, before that there's a history of 10 years or 15 years of continuous reading.
So then that brings us again to this question: education. I mean, education is a big thing in our country. Parents will save, and they will be absolutely, centered on sending their children to the best educational institutions that they can afford. They'll take loans out for them and everything. But then just getting that degree, Manto is an example of that, just getting that degree will not gain a person's ability to be an intellectual. So how do we inculcate that habit in parents as well as children, that it actually is the reading of literature that will open your minds and make you educated?
As far as the formal education is concerned, perhaps the question might be about formal education and the other education. Manto did not excel too much in the formal education, just matriculation and that's it. That is why he could not got a very good job, such as his contemporaries, such as Faiz Ahmad Faisal, such as Amanuddin Qasmi, and such as Noon bin Neem Rashid. And he was MD at radio at that time.
And they had an argument at that time. They had a disagreement.
That is that disagreement, and he was sacked, perhaps, or he left the job from the Noon bin Rashid, from the radio. he could not got the good job.